Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another recap. I promise you I'm gonna come back on camera, but I said I'm just gonna take some time, just be off camera, just talk. So yeah, I will be back, guys, with that. But thank you so much for tuning in to another recap. And of course, I'm here to discuss the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 9, titled Hard Conversations. All right, y'all, let's get into it. So we start this episode off with the ladies returning home to Potomac after their whole Austin, Texas trip. And so we see that Karen is talking to her husband, Ray, outside at their house. And, she's telling him how their communication has been falling off lately because whenever she calls Ray on the phone, he's rushing her off of the phone. And so, of course, she's telling him honey, I don't like that. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they have that discussion. And then she also brings up to him about her heart condition, and she talks about testing that she received and how I think it's only 5% buildup, I guess, within her heart. I don't know if it's a calcium issue or something like that they were talking about. So, basically they were discussing that, and pretty much nothing really went on in that scene, but just them talking. So next, we jump on over to see Mia and Gordon going to a cooking class. And so they arrive there, and we learn that they've invited Robin and Juan to join them. So that was interesting. I was just like, oh, okay. So they didn't invite anybody else. It was just those two couples. So anyway, Robin and Juan, they show up to the cooking class, and we see in a scene, I guess they didn't want the cameras to show, but I guess they forgot that they were mic'd. So we see Juan talking on the phone, and I guess he's talking to some type of connection to try and get him a coaching job. And, Robin says, lately it's been kind of hard for him to get a new job in coaching. So I guess maybe he's been interviewing a lot and there just hasn't been a job landing. So yeah, we see that scene as well. And also too, we learn that Robin's going into a new business venture. And so Robin's kind of into skincare, and she came across this business called Glow 30. So once she found out that they have a franchise, she decided to buy a franchise. So she bought a franchise business for Glow 30, and she's basically opening up a store. And so basically she tells us, the audience, that, they're going to definitely need multiple streams of income because of, Juan losing his job. So
all I ask you to do is to write down when you spend the money that I am making.
I told you it was a legitimate mistake.
I appreciate that, but you have made that mistake 5 times this month. I just want you to change the pattern.
I don't need no lecture from you, but I have to conduct myself in this house.
They're just trying to stay afloat. Anyway, y'all. So Robin and Juan, they join Mia and Gordon at the cooking class. So they start cooking, they're having fun and talking. And so Robin and Mia, they start talking about the Austin, Texas trip with the guys, just letting them know what happened. So Mia, this girl's a trip. All right. So Mia asked Juan, what happened with you and that woman in that whole hotel incident? So you guys already know the Canadian woman he met up with at the hotel. So Juan explains that the woman's purse was stolen and he went to the hotel to help her. And I'm just like, to be honest, I don't remember him saying that her wallet was stolen. I don't know, maybe that was. But my thing is this, from the story that I heard originally, she came into town to meet up with someone else. So my thing is, why in the world would she be calling you to help her out with money issues when she's in town to see another guy? Shouldn't she have called that person? Juan really be thinking we're not intelligent, we have a low IQ.
Absolutely not. Not me. Certainly not I.
Anyway, so that's what he explains to Mia. So Mia says in her confessional, she says, Robin and his story match. And, they definitely practiced that one because even Mia wasn't even convinced. So anyway, yeah, you can tell Juan was uncomfortable talking about it, but he's like, I'll never do that again. And, same old story, y'all. So they're cooking, y'all. They're having fun, and they finished and they start eating. Next, in a new scene, we see Wendy as at home with her family, with her kids, her husband, and her mom and her brother has joined them as well. So Wendy starts talking to her mom about NECA, and she actually asks her some questions. So she's like, Mom, NECA said that, you called up Lebe, her cousin-in-law, talking about her badly and talking about a shrine and all this mess. Like, is that what happened? So her mom, and you could tell her mom was uncomfortable, and you can pretty much tell, like, I really believe that did happen, that her mom did call Lebe and started going off about, Wendy and all that stuff. But yeah. So her mom says, the reason why I called Lebe was because, my daughter and her had a falling out. And so I'm like, come on now, that's not the reason why you called Lebe. You called because you were hearing that NECA was going around saying she was friends with Wendy and basically trying to get on the show and trying to use Wendy for it. And it made you mad, and you called up Lebe to basically tell her, keep my daughter's name out your cousin-in-law's mouth, pretty much. So that's the whole reason why you called Lebe. It have nothing to do with your daughter and her falling out. So anyway, that scene skips, and we jump on over to see Giselle spending time with her daughter, her oldest daughter, Grace. And so we learn that they're going to a self-defense class, and, they start, being taught by the instructors on how to do self-defense moves, and, they're just doing that in the class. So it was nice to see that. And I think Giselle is, doing that to prepare Grace, when she goes off to college, and so that she can protect herself. So I think that's why they went to the class. So anyway, after the class is done, they're just sitting down on the mat, and Giselle lets Grace know that she's having a hard time with her going to college. And in a way, like, Giselle looked like she was about to cry, but you know how Giselle is. She held it all in. And so, Grace is like, Mom, I'm going to be fine. It's going to be all good. And so she's like, yeah, it's always been me, you, and the girls, because her other two daughters. And now you're going away, and it'll just be me and, the twins at home. So, I'm just kind of sad that basically you're growing into a young woman and you're leaving the nest. So that's a cute little scene. And honestly, Giselle is tolerable when she's with her kids. And that's when you kind of see more of a vulnerable side. And also, too, while her and Grace were talking, she starts talking about Jason, that dude she allegedly is seeing. And she FaceTimes him while she's out with Grace. And she's like, oh, Grace, say hi to Jason. You can tell Grace was like, I'm not in the mood for this. And she's just like, hi, Jason. And so I'm just like, Giselle, y'all, anyway. So next, in a new scene, we see Candace driving, and while she's driving, she's talking to her mother on the phone in the car. So we find out that she went to the doctor recently to have a mammogram done, and they said that she has 2 lumps. But the doctors said that it appears to be a lymph node, and that moving forward, they'll just monitor it. So Candace is like, absolutely not. Like, I'm worried about this. Why would they just tell me to monitor it? Like, no, I want to basically get this taken out and see what's going on. And so her mom is trying to calm her down. She's like, Candace, you're overthinking it. Like, you shouldn't worry. And so Candace is like, no, I have to advocate for myself. And I absolutely agree. Like, for you to tell her, oh, it's just, nothing, your lymph nodes. Like, no, you don't know what that is. And then it could be too late. God forbid if it was anything. And honestly, I think she should go get a second and a third opinion. And I'd be like, look, just do a biopsy on it so I can find out what is this. It just is what it is. So, and it's so true. You do have to advocate for yourself, especially being, African American. Like, no. So, Candace, if you ever listen to this, if it's, of a concern, definitely get a second, third opinion. And and if you don't feel right in your spirit about it, go with what you feel. It's probably the Lord telling you, like, just get a biopsy done. I'm like, half these doctors don't even know anything and they do not care about patient care. But anyway, let me just get off a tangent. I'm not saying her doctors don't, but I'm very big on health and Anyway, Candace lets us know that she's meeting up with Nneka actually at a restaurant and, for them to talk. So I thought that was interesting. So Candace arrives at the restaurant and she meets up with Nneka. And so they sit down, they greet each other, and they start talking about the Austin trip. So Nneka says that it was never her intention to have that conversation with Wendy in front of the group. And I guess it just kind of happened. So Candace says, Nneka, in order for me to move forward, you and Wendy have to have a conversation. If there's like basically any relationship between us, you got to make it right with Wendy. That's essentially what she's telling Nneka. So Nneka says, well, I don't know how there can be a resolution. But I do want to get to know you. And, I just hope that this wouldn't be an obstacle for you. So, she's basically, I think when she said that she wants to get to know Candace, I think she was actually saying that in her confessional. So my apologies. But but she does let Candace know that she doesn't think there can be a resolution between her and Wendy. So they get past that and Candace is just like, just hopefully you guys can mend things. And Candace was saying, like, I feel kind of bad, like, basically meeting up with you. And I didn't even tell, Wendy that I was, and I can understand that because, her loyalty is with Wendy and Wendy already told her, like, please don't talk about me with her. And so she... I guess Candace is trying to bridge the gap between Nneka and Wendy. And, she's just like, y'all just need to get it together. So anyway, after they have that conversation, they start talking about children. And so Candace was saying how she thought she was pregnant the other day and stuff like that. And that she froze her eggs. And then Nneka says that it's been 7 months. And she hasn't gotten pregnant since she's been trying. And so, Candace is like, it's going to just take some time. She's just being empathetic towards her. And, Nneka's just like, but it's just been, kind of a long time. I just want to make sure everything's good. So, and so also, too, they start talking about Karen's event. So in the beginning, Karen talks about how she's having like, survivors abuse survivors event with an organization that she works with called PAVE. And so she's invited all the ladies to go to this event. And so that's what Nneka and Candace is talking about, how they're going to go. So in a new scene, it's the day of Karen's event with PAVE and all of the ladies arrive. So Karen gives a speech about survivors against assault and, she starts having like a good event. Everybody's there listening. She's invited other people as well. She also has, I think it's the president or maybe the founder of this organization. She gave a speech as well. And then also they had a musical guest as well who, did like a musical number. and was singing and playing her guitar, I believe. And so during the music session, all of a sudden, Mia gets up and walks away from the table. So we see that she goes into the bathroom and Ashley follows behind her to check on her. So Mia comes out of the bathroom and she's shedding some tears. And we learn that something had happened to Mia years ago and that she became, a victim of assault. And she said that being at Karen's event, is very triggering for her. So Mia says that her friend Jacqueline, so if you guys don't remember, Jacqueline was on last season as Mia's friend, and they had like a falling out, and then I think they became friends again, but I don't think maybe they're not that close. I don't know what's going on with their relationship now, but basically they had a falling out last season. So Mia says that her friend Jacqueline left her that night. I guess maybe they were somewhere and some guy was there or something. But basically Jacqueline left her there, and that was the night she was violated. And she feels like it's kind of like Jacqueline's fault, because had Jacqueline been there, maybe none of that would have happened. So she said all these years she's been harboring that feeling, and it's one of the reasons why she's been mean towards her, because she's still holding on to that when really she should, forgive her and, let it go. So she's telling Ashley this, and she's saying like, this is why this is triggering for me. And I'm holding basically resentment towards Jacqueline because of what I went through that night. So anyway, Ashley's calming her down and being empathetic towards her. It's just like, I'm just so sorry this happened to you, just everything. So they both return to the table and, they get themselves together. And so overall, the event turned out well. The ladies didn't fight. They didn't argue. They didn't even really talk to each other, I don't think. And so Karen thanks everyone for coming to her event. And she asked everyone, let's take a group picture. And they do. And the event, is over. It ends. And scene. So yeah, y'all, I'm going to give this episode a 5. It just was not good. And it has nothing to do with Karen's event, because I think that's a really important message to get out. And, that was a good scene. But overall, this episode was it was boring, except again for Karen's event. But everything else, I'm just like, oh my gosh, y'all, this season is so bad. Even me, it's bad, because I remember when I used to love watching Potomac. I just couldn't wait to watch it. I was always watching it live at 8 p.m. on Sundays. And to see how this franchise is going down so bad, and now I'm waiting days to even watch it. That's how it's bad. And then other people aren't really watching it anymore. It's just not a good season. And this episode was probably one of the worst episodes so far of this season. It's not entertaining. It's just not interesting. It's just in this mess that's going on. And I don't know if you guys checked out that Essence magazine article on Real Housewives of Potomac that came out this week. And yeah, that wasn't it. Now, it's bad when Essence has to do an article on your show about how bad it is. And all the stuff that's going on between Nneka and Wendy, and that's not right, and how the goalpost is always moving for, it seems, the brown girls of the franchise versus the light-skinned women. So, yeah, they were going in on them. So that's how it's bad, if Essence has to take time to sit and write an article about it. But anyway, y'all, I'm just rambling. So yes, this episode is going to get a 5. But yeah, hopefully the rest of the season can be better. I'm still going to recap for you guys, but y'all, I am hanging on by a thread. I don't even want to do it, but I'm doing it for you guys. I know a lot of you guys aren't even watching it. So I'll tell you guys and keep you in the know. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to another recap video. I really appreciate it. please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. And also, too, comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on Potomac's episode this week. Just tell me something, y'all. Definitely comment below. But thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, I'd love to say a prayer over you. And so here it goes. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you favor and his peace, this and protection. This is my prayer over your life. In Jesus' name, amen. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in my next recap. And yeah, bye.